Hello friends, I am glad to welcome you to the Captain Garman channel. And today we have a horror release. I'm going to tell you about what happens sometimes unexpectedly we drown. So, let's get the details. In short, we went down to the water. By the way, do you hear the sound? This is a working bilge pump. We're starting to draw water. We begin to gain a lot of water. Here, the pump itself works. Look at how much water is flowing here. And how fast. So it worked, the water was gone. I don't know, 15 or 20 seconds passed there. Probably a couple of liters of water is pumped out during the time period. Now, that's all the water that gets into the boat from the outside. I've already sorted out the pails. You can at the same time see how it all works. Levy bolts, it holds the keel, bilge pump, recess. All the water is collected here. By the method of trial and error, here you see, there are all sorts of plastic bags with which I plugged these bulkheads, and looked at what was actually flowing. In short, by trial, I determined that it flows from somewhere in the middle. This bulkhead, and this one, that is, inside from here. That is, the water comes in somewhere through all these things. Here. What can leak? The needles may leak. These are, I don't know, the holes through which water is being collected. The village drive may flow, the radar may flow. That is, something that is below the water level. Well, the village drive, I think, is not worth considering, because the system is too fancy, and it will be an ass if it leaks. That is, it needs to be removed. Probably those problems that are possibly simpler. We sort it out. We start watching shikoki. So, the lowest seacocks are seawater seacocks. I've sorted them out. You see how much? There's water here too. That is, the water is leaking, apparently, into the cracks between the hull, here or somewhere here, and it flows down there. That is, I disassembled all the shikoki, tightened it up. You can see how it squirts. That is, in principle, they are normal. I don't think there's anything leaking out of there, because it looks pretty normal. But I found two other problems. That is, by twisting the seacocks, I still broke them. But not those that go to the bottom, thank God. And let's say, here comes the seacock of the air conditioner. You'll see, there was one here. Such a fitting, in short, it sticks out, a hose is put on it. That is, hoses. Once. Here's the fence hose. Here you see this fitting, which is broken off. In other words, salt water does its job, but it doesn't matter, because it's a desalination plant, it's an air conditioner. I can live without it for a while, until I just buy a fitting in a regular hardware store and put it on here. But nevertheless, there is a lot of water here. And if you soak it, it still doesn't make any sense. That is, it probably flows either through the radar or through the seacocks that are in the back lockers. Let's go watch. So here it is, the back locker. I usually keep diesel here. I've already tittied up a little bit here. We go here and look. Oh gods. Look at this stream of water. I thought that either this one or this seacock was flowing. But after looking carefully, everything turns out to be not quite so. There's a drainage hole through which the water sucks. Let's see where it goes next. So, we climb here. Very inconvenient place. Look, it's flowing stupidly from overboard. That is, roughly speaking, we have this Sikaflex, with which the board was attached. It passes. The worst is possible, perhaps due to the fact that the body is wide. It plays it was not made into a whole piece. But nevertheless, it does not change the essence of this water, which splashes. There are several ways to solve this problem. The first option, we take out the boat again. This is a rather stupid decision. Or I talked to the guys from Boat Yard, they said they could do it now, so I'm going to cut this thing off, they'll climb in there. Sand this whole part here. This is what everyone will cut off and take. Here you can see how it is made. All this will be removed, and a new layer will be made both from the outside and from the inside. But we need to make sure that the water does not get into the boat. To do this, we will now fill up a full tank in the nose. I'm going to get cans of water. We're going to take it all to the nose, load the nose, and pull the ass out of the water. And already on a dry ass, we will do all the manipulations. While Bilge continues to work like hell with us, my task is not to take out the boat again on the dry dock, to lift it, ass out of the water. That is, since our boat is long enough, we will load the bow. So far, we are doing it like this. We pour water everywhere into tanks, but then we will dry diesel ones. And what to do? And then we'll put another ace on top. Also, these rains are eternal. It's a nightmare here. What you do once. I ran there for 5 minutes to turn off, to get ready, because it starts pounding muck. In short, the ass of the boat, of course, came out of the water. There is a joint at the bottom of the black one, and this joint should be above the water. It periodically goes underwater. In short, it doesn't fit, because I won't be able to seal it. I need to dry, process, and blow everything out there with the Sikaflex. So I made a deal with Tony for $100. They will pull me out of dollars, hang me on a crane overnight, and throw me back in the morning. I hope that I will be able to seal everything. Now a hard roller is going to do this, and it is from the side. We're going to moor in a crosswind now. I wonder what could have been leaking. This is the whole board. Well, I took this vigorous Sikaflex 5002 and sealed it. Now he's still sticking a little bit. But I pushed it aside like that, stuffed a lot of it there. In short, I stuffed a whole tube right here, under this one. Well, he'll probably survive. Well, I did more. I left it to dry at the edges. We look at it. Well, let's go down to the water. Well, are we checking? Well, it doesn't flow from anywhere. It worked. Well, friends, here we are chipping in on the water. I checked, there is no leak. And now let's look at the reasons. Well, about the reasons, in my opinion. So, look at this photo, you can see how we were standing on the pillars. In other words, I think that this rear support, which pressed on the body, it gave us these destructions that we had with the cracked plasticizer. But most likely, if it was just the first time, then nothing terrible would have happened. I think sometimes that I don't already know, paid attention, this crack appeared, and the water was slowly dripping. And she was oozing, but just in very small quantities, so I didn't even look for a leak. Well, you never know there, seacocks are recruited overboard from anywhere. But when the crack was already crushed from below by its weight, such destruction had already begun, which, in fact, the water began to pour into the body. These are my thoughts, that is, it just seems that way to me. So the reason, I think, is this. And now I have fixed it all, so it will be fine. They take out small boats. Friends, this video of ours has come to an end. Don't forget to check if you are subscribed to our channel Captain Garman. Like it and see you in the next episode. Bye.